biggest obstacles to Nigeria's rebirth. And it appears to have a working system that allows it to thrive no matter what. As believers in leadership, whether in business, politics, or ministry, how do we uphold biblical values of integrity and excellence in a system that seems to often reward compromise?
Well, I don't know whether this is one of those situations, Pastor Poju, that one would say to a carpenter, everything is a hammer and a nail. But I would use a practical example to demonstrate what it is that I'm going to share with you, because I do have a story to tell. It's a short one, because I have 2 minutes. My ending of the story is that your values are the things that you place importance on, that are important enough to you. And that whatever it is that is most important to you, anything less than that, you will never accept. So a few years ago, I will not say how long, but it's not this administration, it's not last administration, it's a while ago. Let me just leave it at that. Pastor Poju likes to tell stories, so I'm telling stories today. I was approached by, I got a phone call, and it happened to be a man of God in Abuja who called me to say, Fela, there is an opportunity that I want you to explore. In fact, let me be clear with you, you have already gotten it. So I said, okay, what is it about? He said, we want to run a program called on ethical leadership. And when we did some kind of vetting, we said we were looking for 3 things. Number one, we're looking for somebody who has experience and expertise on ethical leadership. Number 2, we were looking for somebody who had the reputation of experience and expertise on ethical leadership. And the third one was that we were looking for somebody who had the capacity, are you ready for this? To run an ethical leadership training across 774 local governments in 8 weeks. So the person must have an army of people, trainers, that can train in 50 local governments at the same time on Monday and Tuesday, and then 50, those people will now move to another local government and train 50. So therefore, in 1 week, they would have trained 700 local governments. He said, we know what you've been doing with raising speakers, and you have Speakers Corner, you have Speakers Connect, we know all of these things, you know what you've been doing in the banking sector. We believe you are the only one that has all 3. So we want you to please give us your invoice. So we went, and I called my team together, I said, please, make sure that when you do, everything is at cost. Everything. The pencil must be at cost. The bag, the paper, everything. And then he said, okay, so what do we do as management fee? I said, no, this is for Nigeria. Leave that out. I am not charging a management fee on it. So it's only the cost. So we put in a bid for 1.3 billion at that time. Exact cost. 3 days later, I get a call. Congratulations, fella. You know, you have been given the task. But we looked at the costing and we said, it's not possible that this costing could have been, it's most likely that you did not put anything for yourself. I said, no, I didn't put anything for myself. I said, I told them in that meeting, fella won't put anything for yourself. He said, so we decided to put something for you. So we want to put 700 million on top of this thing, so you get 2 billion, but send us an invoice for 5 billion. And we need that invoice in the next 3 days before they close the account of the for the year. I said, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. He said, what is it that you don't understand, fella? We said, send it in so that we can quickly process it for you. It's already allocated to you, don't worry. I said, but sir, I thought you said this thing is ethical leadership. He said, yes. I said, but if already we are doing ethical leadership and we are already inflating price, then what are we teaching? He said, fella, please. You know that if you don't do this thing, you know these people. they will just give it to one of their people who will not even do any job, and they will still deliver that thing. It's better for you to be the one that got it. I said, no, sir. The gifts and callings of God are without repentance, but the blessing of the Lord maketh rich and addeth no sorrow. He said, there's no sorrow to this. You have been doing well for Nigeria. It is time for Nigeria to do well for you. I said, no, sir. I'm sorry. Long story cut short, I had to turn off my phone for 3 days at one point. He was calling me every 30 minutes. At one time, I turned off my phone. Pastor Poju, what I didn't realize was that 3 months later into the new year, I saw on page 4 of a newspaper 4 people in the presidency arrested by EFCC for stealing 425 million naira for ethical leadership program. Now, please listen to this. Listen to this. None of you remembers the name of those people, even though I'm sure all of you saw that paper. You know what they would have written? Anybody knows? Durotoye and 4 others is what they would have written. And if they had written that, I promise you that I will not be sitting in this chair several years later. What is the point that I'm making? You have to come to the point where you value your values to the point where nobody can offer you anything. Only your values can help you turn down what looks like an opportunity to be corrupt. I served for 6 months in the government of this current administration as senior special assistant to the president of Nigeria on national values and social justice. We developed a national plan. I did not charge 1 kobo. I did not accept 1 naira as payment. I did not accept official house. I did not accept official car. And when I got that, when they called me for that opportunity, the gentleman said to me, it's been very difficult to get your letter out. I said, why? He said, because there is no way they can hold you. You don't have, you are not collecting a salary, you are not collecting an official car, you are not collecting official house, so there's nothing to threaten you with. So I want you to know, sir, in those 6 months, I met many people like me. I'm not special, I'm not holier than thou. There are many people that are making this country work. They are called heroes. And they are people who have values, who have left their nation, left their family to serve Nigeria. But it is their values that are at work. Sir, when we have the right values, there won't be corruption in this land.
Powerful.
Wow. I mean, it's wow. I'm trying to express this because this is a lot to take in 4 or 5 minutes, and there's a whole lot to unpack. Maybe speechless first of all because that is somebody who's come close to power, who was I think contested for an election before, to say something similar to some of the things on these podcasts that we've been saying for a while now. For the last couple of weeks, I've been talking excessively on corruption. And the reason being that it is the thing that is kneecapping our nation. This corruption thing has kneecapped the nation to the point that to the very, very smallest part of our country, it is expected that a child understands corruption and how corrupt practices work because that child has been raised in that same system. Now, before I go and unpack my own thought about what Fela Durotoye said here, um, I want to say if you're meeting this content for the first time, please like, share, and subscribe. Above all, I want you to watch this to the end. I know sometimes they can be a bit longer, but to help educate, to help get Nigeria to the point where we need to, we can't do that in short videos. Okay, so that's why I'm encouraging you. If it takes about 20 minutes, just watch it, give it some time, and you'll realize there's a whole lot. And just like Fela Durotoye mentioned, there's a whole lot of other Nigerians doing similar stuff. And so some of you as well, you're just meeting this for the first time, and you've been worried and considering how bad these corrupt practices are. I say watch it because I want to burn that fire in you. I want to use what he said, unpack what he said, and then pass that back to you and say, what do you think? So Nigeria is kneecapped at the moment. Nigeria is kneecapped, even though Fela Durotoye served in Tinubu's administration, as he mentioned, for 6 months. For me, I think this current administration is not the legal administration that Nigerians voted for. It's not the right one. The right one Nigerians voted for didn't get the vote, didn't get the was rigged out. So that's on one hand. On the other hand, let's focus on the corruption and how we can defeat it. Because there's a big problem. The problem is corruption. We know it. The problem is compromise of our every system in Nigeria, our legal system, our political system, every area you can think of in Nigeria, there's corruption all over the place. It's pervasive. All right? You want somebody to do something for you, that is their job. They ask you to give them some money, bribe them. It's similar to what these people were saying to him. But what we're trying to say, to get Nigeria to a working space, we have to first of all defeat corruption. We have to first of all get the right set of leaders in the place of authority, whether they're presidents, whether they are senators, whether they are lawmakers. We have to get the right set of people in place of authority. And we need to get the right set of people in place of authority. If not, we will keep suffering. But there are a few things that he mentioned that I put a note here. You have to come to the point where you value your values to the point where nobody can offer you anything. When politicians kneecap the nation, they do that so that when they come to you, you're compromised, you're easily compromised. Because they know you don't have anything. So they give you peanuts so that you can help them go rig elections. You can help them steal ballot papers. You can help them burn ballot papers. You can help them turn off the INEC server. So they give you something to compromise you. Remember what Fela said. He said, there's nothing to hold him by. There's nothing they can threaten you with because you don't collect money, you don't steal, they can't send your papers out. It's hard because there's nothing to hold you on. There's nothing to charge you on. So when you sell your vote to these politicians, you know you'll become compromised. When you help them rig elections, you know you'll become compromised. Just like in the last election where they used thugs. Bear in mind, these same thugs were the same people who are, or rather are the same people who have now been used. And they're in that situation because of the same politicians. We're trying to raise our value system higher such that the peanuts, the 5,000 naira, the 10,000 naira, the 20,000 naira the politicians comes to give you, they're nothing anymore. Because now you've lived 3 years, 4 years without this 20,000 naira. Don't assume that when they give you this money, it would last another another 4 years. It's not. He also mentioned that only your values can help you turn down what looks like an opportunity to be corrupt. They come to you and say, "Oh, there's a big contract coming here. We want to print this, want to do." You come your hand and say, "I'm sorry, I can't be part of it. I cannot be part of it." They're doing it right now. They've started 2027 campaigns. Who will become the governor of Lagos State? And they've already compromised few people and given them contracts. And those ones will have to go and do the work for them. So you have to understand what is really going on here right now. The money they're going to buy you with will not suffice for your children or for your grandchildren tomorrow. If your value is for your grandchildren, for your future, your children's future, with 20,000 naira solve it. With 20,000 naira solve your children's school fees. They gave you peanuts to vote them in, to rig election in, but now you're paying over the top to pay for your children's school fees. That money they paid you that time to corrupt you, how far has it gone? These are the kind of pertinent questions you have to ask yourselves. These are the kind of questions we have to ask those guys who they're using to rig elections and corrupt our system. Those thugs they use to threaten people, carry guns and machetes and chase people out of polling booths. If you ask them, what has that done for your children or for them? They will say no. So this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to emphasize the change that we want to see in 2027. I want to see the change. I want to crisscross the entire nation and see changes. I want to enjoy the Nigerian beauty. Listen, to all of you Nigerians who are watching this or listening to this, you have to understand Nigeria is very beautiful. I've had the opportunity of traveling around Nigeria for once. I saw things that I believe, oh my God, there are mountains, the hills, there are waterfalls, all the way from the south to the north. It is amazing. The landscape is amazing. For all of those people traveling away and running to other part of the world to go and see all of Nigeria has everything. We have everything. What are you asking? See, there's enough wealth in Nigeria, enough natural resources to make your grandchildren or generations unborn never be poor if we have the right leaders. The essence of this particular content today, this podcast today, is about the leadership that we want to see in 2027. People with the right values who won't look at corrupt opportunity as a way of getting up, but they're able to spot corruption from afar ahead and say no and turn their back to it. You know what? Because when they can turn their back to corrupt practices, they will use that money that is meant that they're meant to steal and be bribed with. They'll use that to do your roads, your hospitals, your schools, your government offices, the government parastatals. They'll use that to pay the police and equip the police to buy the right kind of vehicles and armories they need so that they can, help the citizens and fight insecurity. But when they steal that money and compromise you, you won't be able to travel to your village come December. You wouldn't be able to go see your grandparents come December because now the entire road is lined with corrupt police officers looking to steal from you or force you to give them money. And not only that, there's bandits on the road, kidnappers on the road, people who are killing other people and getting their organs for organ donorship or organ transfer. Don't you understand how bad it is right now? There's a lot of unaccountable death on Nigerian roads. When you find those bodies, their bodies have been ripped off of their organs, the kidney, their lungs. What do you think they use them for? They sell them in the black market. So I'm raising this awareness. I'm asking you so that you know and you don't give up. Uh, I think Pastor Poju Oyemade mentioned something about the biggest obstacles to Nigeria's rebirth. This is the biggest obstacle to Nigeria's rebirth: corruption, bad leadership. If we have to get the Nigeria we want, we have to kick out corruption. They will attempt to compromise you. Politicians will do that a lot. They'll give you something that looks like an opportunity, but it's a compromise. Just like Fela Durotoye said, I had this amount of money to make it 2 billion. That was supposed to be the compromise, the bribe. Something he literally could have done initially anyway and then be free from all of that. But they were asking him to put that. We want people who are not compromised. We want people who have capacity, who have the reputation of experience. That's what he mentioned. And we have people with integrity. Don't be fooled by all these peanuts politicians give you. Don't. When they use thugs to rig elections, they will release mayhem on the people. When politicians rig your elections, they will release mayhem on the people. They will use the same thugs to attack you, to threaten your marketplaces. Look at what is happening in Edo State. Thugs rigged the election for the ruling party APC. And guess who are the revenue collectors right now in Edo State? The same thugs used by the same government to rig the elections and buy votes and whatnot. And now the same thugs now are threatening people. The marketplaces, the bus drivers, their daily contributions have been raised because of what thugs. Unethical practices. We want ethical leaders who understand right from wrong and believe in it and have value system in it. So if you have value for your children and your grandchildren, don't collect that bribe. That's what I'm trying to encourage you today. So if you're watching this again for the first time, I say to you, please like, share, subscribe. Please put your comments. Tell us how we can fix Nigeria. What are your strategies? Because we need to come out with strategy right now and start this campaign from now. So that when we get to 2027, we would have saturated the entire airspace and say no to corruption and no vote buying and rigging. We can call out our corrupt judges. Our judges are corrupt because they are the ones that have helped to elect these leaders, because they take them to the to appeals court, and the judges just acknowledge everything they gives them and says, yes, we want this corrupt leader, and then see what they've done to our nation. So I'm trying to say this to you, Nigerians from all walks of life. What is your value system? What is it you value most? Do you value your children? Do you value your lives? Do you value your family? Do you value the nation? If you value your children, you will stop electing corrupt officials. You will stop electing corrupt politicians. You will stop electing corrupt leaders, people who have corrupted our nation and destroyed our nation to this point. You will get to the point where they will give you this money and you say, I don't need it because you gave me 4 years ago. I sold my vote to you. See where I am today. I'm not better off, and I will not be better off after today. So I'm going to elect the right leaders. Let us listen to their campaigns. Let us look at the antecedent. Let's look at their experience. Let's look at their reputation. So when you notice this man or this woman who has come to bribe you using thugs, when you look at their reputation and you don't see anything that is good in it, turn your back away from that bribe. This bribery thing has killed our nation to this point. That's why you are where we are. That's why you're where you are today. So have a value for your children so that when they travel around the country to go to school, they will be safe. They will have good roads, good hospitals, good schools. But when you elect the wrong kind of leaders, they will steal the country if dry. They will use the money that's meant to build roads for you, for your children, hospitals, and their schools. They'll steal them and they'll run away with them. And then you will continue with this insecurity and poor state of the nation as you've continued for the last long years now. So I leave you with this today. Value Nigeria. Value your children. Value everything that makes your life better. Turn your back away from corruption and bribe and not be compromised. Turn your backs away from it. Because our politicians, as corrupt as they are, they will come back with that peanut or that bag of gari and beans and 5,000 naira. Remember, for every 5,000 naira they give you, they take 5 million in return. And that's the 5 million that would have fixed your roads and your hospitals and your schools. So let's start working towards 2027 to make Nigeria better. Let's remove all these bad leaders and elect new ones who will bring in fresh ideas that will move our country better and forward. Thank you. Until next time, again, please like, share, subscribe. God bless you.